All right.
Jessica's in the house.
She is indeed.
Hi, Jessica.
Good evening. Give her a sec here. Okay, Let's call to order the meeting for North Canton City Council. It is Monday, March 9th, 7 p.m. This evening's opening prayer will be provided by Councilman Soretta. Please rise for that prayer and remain standing for the Pledge of Allegiance. Mark?
Lord, thank you for bringing us here this evening. Thank you for giving us the responsibility and this wonderful community. Help us to listen and make good decisions to make this community go forward in your name. Give us the courage, the determination to do the right thing at the right time. In your name, in God's name we pray. Amen.
Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Clerk, would you please call the roll?
Member Fonte?
Here.
Member Foltz?
Here.
Member Stroya?
Here.
Member Sreda?
Here.
Member Volt?
Here.
Waring and Peters absent, 5 present.
Motion to excuse member Waring and Peters.
So moved.
Second, I guess.
Second, just needed, thank you.
All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Council has for its consideration its meeting minutes of February 24th, as well as the special committee of the whole for February 24th as well. Are there any corrections or amendments to those minutes?
Motion to approve as presented.
Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Very good. Recognition of visitors. Is there anyone who wishes to address the council this evening? We are going to move this meeting along. Seeing none, we'll move on, and as we have no old business, we'll move on to new business. We have a motion to read by title only, first reading, ordinance number 12-2020.
So moved.
Second.
An
Or,
ordinance.
excuse me, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Now we do.
There we go. An ordinance amending Chapter 111, Council of the Codified Ordinance of the City of North Canton, specifically Section 111.04 legislative procedure as described below.
Mr. Story?
Yeah, we discussed this last week. This is the agenda request form to organize and streamline the process to council and the committees. I think that's about it. I mean, we discovered it pretty clearly last
Okay. Any other questions or comments? Seeing none, and a motion to adopt the first reading of ordinance 12-20.
So moved.
Second?
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Item 10, may I have a motion to read by title only, resolution number 1-20.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
A resolution accepting the internship policy handbook as submitted and shall be maintained by the Department of Administration.
As Jeff is not here, our clerk, with the assistance of the law department, has drafted a procedural manual for securing interns on an unpaid basis. Rules are established, and this will ensure that there is a defined procedure in securing those college interns. Are there any additional questions or comments at this point? This is the first reading. I think we've pretty well got it cleaned up. Is that not correct?
That's correct.
Yes, sir.
Okay, very good. I took a look at it. I didn't see any. It was outstanding. A couple good catches in terms of federal employment law, so I think we're in pretty fair shape. If there aren't any other questions or comments, may I have a motion to adopt the first reading of resolution number 1-20?
So moved.
Second?
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Item 11, may I have a motion to read by title only, first reading, ordinance number 13-20?
So moved.
Second?
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
An ordinance amending Chapter 155 Personnel Regulations, Part 1, Administrative Code of Codified Ordinances of the City of North Canton to adjust the titles and compensation of certain employees and repealing any legislation inconsistent herewith and declaring the same to be an emergency.
Very good. Gina, do you want to just recap the reasons for this, for the record,
Okay.
please?
So we looked at the positions and did an organizational alignment, looking at the study from Ohio Municipal League, some market rate studies. So we're adjusting some of these based on job descriptions and other things to align more currently to the market.
Right. And again, these are, I want to say that the decision is market-driven in terms of the employment market.
Correct.
Anyone have any additional questions or comments? Thank you, Gina. May I have a motion to adopt the first reading of ordinance 13-20?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Item 12. I have a motion to read by title only, first reading, ordinance number 14-20.
So moved.
Second?
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
An ordinance authorizing the appropriation of funds of the City of North Canton to be appropriated from the unappropriated resources of the general fund and the insurance fund for the current expenses during the fiscal year ending December 31st, 2020.
Gina, can I call on you again, please?
Yes. The corresponding appropriation adjustments to the prior ordinance. We need some budget adjustments along the way to be able to make some of these salary adjustments. We also need to move some money to pay the temporary personnel that we had in place in the finance office while she was here. So it's not additional. Some of it's not additional. We're moving it out of wages into contract services. And then there's some other adjustments.
Are there any other questions or comments about 14-20? Seeing none, may I have a motion to adopt the first reading of ordinance 14-20?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Very good. Reports. Deputy Director of Administration. I told you, we're moving
Okay,
tonight.
we're moving quick. I'll just say two really quick updates then. Just one thing, we all went to the Stark County Regional planning seminar thing that they had at SIPO last week, and we had, one of the seminars was on GIS from the Stark County Auditor's Office. And today we had a representative in from the GIS talking about North Canton's usage. For those of you, GIS is Geographic Info System Framework, that is basically managing and analyzing spatial relations on the map. So we had Brian Hill from our Water Distribution Department in there with Jeff Todd and Rob and Artie and I. And we are looking at using it for water distribution. I've ordered them some Surface Pros to use in the field, and being able to map out the valve maintenance program, identify where the critical valves are. This will help us save time, save money in the case of a water main break. So all good stuff.
So people understand that back in the day, when I was a young buck on council, many of the locations of the valves were inside the head of the superintendent. He knew where they were, but nobody else did.
Right.
So this is a critical effort to make sure that as we
Move on to the next generations.
we
and
know
moving into the
where
digital age.
we know where our infrastructure is located in the ground.
Goes along lines with our digital archiving we're also doing with the permanent records that the city has to maintain. We're also moving into that next stage from paper into digital. And then another, just a little quick note, Patrick and I also did attend a really informational seminar by Jobs Ohio on the OSIP program, the Ohio Site Inventory Program. And that is a great program. It's it's kind of to reactivate site searches. It's a 5-year program. It's going from January 2020 through December 2024. Funding will not exceed a total of $50 million annually, so it's $250 million total through a combination of loans and grants. This is a couple more details. Okay, so there's really no end user identified on the sites. They're looking for a minimum of 30 plus acres for site development. A phase 1 needs to be done, and a phase 2 would need to be done if phase 1 found that. They're looking for brownfield, greenfield development. Brownfield would be more favorable. There is now, it's coming out on May 1st. It will be an application online with all the information. So this is kind of just in draft form right now. Some of the guiding principles, their primary focus is on filling known or proven inventory gaps, aligning with the Jobs Ohio targeted industry sectors. It's some eligible speculative development applicants would be business, developers, nonprofits, port authorities, or local governments. Applicant must have ownership or control of the property. Some eligible speculative development projects, like I said, greenfield and brownfield, but brownfield are a little more priority. There should be no proposed speculative building. The site should be a minimum of 30 contiguous developable acres. They want participation from an experienced developer to lead the redevelopment and marketing of the site. That's strongly encouraged. And a few of the speculative development end uses they're looking for that are eligible are light to heavy industrial sites, parks and buildings, warehousing, distribution, office buildings, buildings suitable for supporting research and development. Ineligible would be like parks, rec, residential, retail, hotel, parking lot, garages, entertainment values. So just a lot of information out there from Ohio Jobs and the OSIP program, so we'll keep an eye on it.
Yeah, very good.
It's good info.
And we have a couple of ideas where we may apply that.
Yes.
We do
So,
indeed.
stay tuned
And we're
to
working
this.
with our economic development consultant on this. So,
All right, that's
very
all
good.
I have.
Thank you. Mr. Mayor?
Yes, good evening. Visitors, thank you for and welcome tonight. Just a couple of things. Again, Gina, thank you very much for your oversight and in reviewing the titles and compensation reviews, making this fair and reasonable for our current employees and future employees. So again, thank you for your oversight. On the COVID-19, I was at Walsh University this morning. Again, their students were back. They're in their self-quarantine right now. There was 14 that were abroad, and they're being monitored on their own at home. As according to Dr. Collins, the president, their studies will continue, so they can't get out of those. For ourselves here in the city, I double-checked with our fire chief. Again, we have protocols in place for our personnel, for police and fire. If they come across someone with indications of
a COVID-19 health concern. Again, we haven't had any transports with anyone with those symptoms. Again, I would just caution anyone to just follow the CDC guidelines about your own health and hygiene, and just monitor yourself. And be that as it may, again, it's bringing health and hygiene awareness to us. Unfortunately, it's through this illness that's affecting the world. Unfortunately, the city of North Canton has experienced two incidents that have affected us for our community. Some of you may be aware we had a fatality not too long ago, a pedestrian fatality. It's been a long time since we had one in the city. And again, that affects us and the families and the persons that were involved with that. It's very tragic when that happens. But our police officers are following up on that, and with that investigation as it goes forward for the people that were involved. If you've been not aware, we had a homicide late Friday night, early Saturday morning. I just want to touch base with you on that. This was an incident that was basically involving alcohol and guns. And they obviously, to me, those things don't go together. They were friends. The incident occurred basically they had an incident in Canton that ended up carrying their troubles or worries or whatever they had going on to a home here on Hartman in North Canton. Unfortunately, tempers got out of control, and yes, one person was shot and killed here in the city. Our police department and fire department responded very quickly to that, and through some information I've gathered from the police department, we were able to obtain information on who the assailant was, who the shooter was, and the incident occurred sometime between 12 and 1, and by 6 o'clock or 6:15 that morning, we had arrested the person that had done the shooting. That person was arrested for murder for one count and an attempted murder, one count for attempted murder, because that person did fire another shot at somebody else who was running into the house. So I'm probably giving you more details than you haven't read already, but I just want you to know, unfortunately, things like this happen in the city. We're not immune to crime, but we are a safe community, and I think the exemplary work done by the police officers that night to locate this person, have him arrested and put in jail is very good. We'll just have to wait and see how the rest of the investigation carries out, and I believe Chief Kemp will keep the media informed as best as possible with the updates and things like that. So I just wanted to address that. Unfortunately, these things happen, but our city personnel handled it very well. Again, it's tragic for the family involved. It's tragic for all people involved. But let this not be a black mark against our city, but things like this happen in society. Unfortunately, it happened to us this time.
Thank you very much.
Steve, did you say that, when's the last time there was a homicide? 2008? Is that what
I believe the last time we had a homicide was in 2008, and some people will remember that. It was at the trailer park.
Yep.
That is no longer here. It's Northridge Apartments, but that one was very, very, very tragic. And we're not immune to these things, but it's just something that happens sometimes in society. So again, we take great pride in responding to people's concerns and needs, and making safety and health and safety and welfare a priority for us. So we'll just have to see how this unfortunate incident plays out in the courts.
Any other questions for the mayor about this or the traffic fatality? All right, Mr. Fonte.
I just wanted to say we're working on some update videos for the people in our community. We did the whole 6-month for the library for all the upcoming events. So that's going to shoot out a month ahead of schedule so people can be aware of what's happening and participate in the nice community event. Also, issue 16's on the ballot, and I had a meeting with Jeff Wendorf. We did a quick video just to try to explain some of the myths or facts pertaining to what it really means to the constituents, how much money it would cost, and what exactly are they up to, where they're going to put it. So that was a good meeting, so we always want to inform voters. And then we're working on a few more new videos for our community, so stay tuned.
Mr. Fox?
Thank you. Last year, you may recall that I had mentioned that unfortunately a local resident had passed away, and that in that circumstances, there were unfortunately no family or next of kin that had came in and with the coroner's office laid claim on behalf of Ruth Moore, and that the process that occurs when that happens is that the city then steps in and covers the cost for the burial services. When I had mentioned that, a friend of Ruth Moore, Mr. Ted Lawson, a local artist in Canton, had called me the very next day and mentioned his friend in belief that she was a proud person and that she would not have felt good being indebted to the taxpayers in that way. He then asked what he could do regarding the estate, because he believed that she had some assets and wanted to make sure that those got into the hands of the right people if possible. And ultimately, Mr. Lawson went through the probate court with an attorney, and they indeed gone through the probate process, which involved reimbursing the city for the cost of the burial services. And just about 2 weeks ago, we received a check from the estate, and I just wanted to pass that on as special acknowledgement for Mr. Lawson and the decedent, Miss Ruth Moore.
Thank you very much. Mr. Foltz?
No report.
Yeah, I wanted to point out that the schools and a bunch of other people raised, I think it was like $300,000 at St. Baldrick's, and the school themselves raised over $100,000. So I thought that was pretty impressive, and wanted to mention that. Also wanted to thank the mayor for the report on the homicide, and 6 hours is pretty amazing, the way that happened, and I just want to thank the police force. I think they're amazing, and that's another example of an unfortunate circumstance, but they did an incredible job.
Thank you.
Mr. Serrata?
A couple things. As Kathy mentioned, that regional planning meeting out at SIPO, very impressed. There's a lot of employees from our city there, and that's just a lot of extra educational opportunities there. They covered a lot of data. I think Steve and his group are complete there. Tim was there. Well, you had just about every department head was there. Rob. So I thought it was really impressive that they're going after some extra education like that. Matt and I represented us here, and there were some pretty good things in there. Matt stayed a little longer than I did, things like zoning, and then Matt went to some things about sunshine laws and so on. So next year we'll kind of rotate that. I think everybody would like that kind of stuff if you can make it. That was very informative. It's a good program that they put on. Additionally, both Mayor Wilder and Councilman Revolt and I met with Walsh President today, went over a lot of details. That was meant for about an hour, and had a good agenda. We talked about how we could really help Walsh and how we can partner with them and them with us. We let them know about all the construction that's going to be happening on East Maple Street and how timing is everything and what they've got during that time. We went through rental registration a little bit, talked to them about their off-campus housing. And a lot of it was more about the relationship with the Walsh and city and how we can partner up. We will be having a council meeting out there, as we all know that. We want to do a little bit more than that. The internship programs and so on that we've been talking about. So I think it was a very good meeting for our side and their side about how we can communicate and really collaborate throughout the year and have more of these meetings when needed. So I thought that was a really good meeting. I'm glad Member Revolt and Mayor Wilder was able to make it also. And that's it. That's my report.
We should note that Kathy was present as well.
Yes, I'm
But,
sorry, Kath, sorry.
More importantly, we should acknowledge the role that our clerk played in establishing that meeting and the
Yes.
preparation of the agenda. It was
Yeah.
excellent. It was completely nailed down.
Yeah.
And Ben, we thank you for your effort in organizing that successful meeting.
Yeah, you got a couple good hits in there for Ben, so Ben shouldn't have any worries about his grades this time.
I'm understanding it's a 4-point plus.
I think you're okay, Ben.
The diploma might even be delivered on a silver tray.
Yeah, I think so.
Very good. Gina,
Thank you.
please.
I just want to mention, we did receive the letter today from the Government Finance Officers Association that the 2018 Comprehensive Annual Financial Report, or the CAFR, was submitted for review, and it has again received the Certificate of Excellence in Financial Reporting and Accounting, which is the highest standard of excellence that you can receive. So kudos to the past finance department staff, and we will strive to absolutely continue that.
Right. Thank you very much.
And let's just add on to that, we couldn't let that go. I mean, Gina's done a fabulous job, but a lot of that was Laura Brown. Let's make sure that we put that in the record, that she did a real nice job of getting us to that point also. And we want to thank Gina, of course, for continuing that.
Mr. Graham.
Just wanted to touch base quickly on our Portage Charlotte resurfacing project. ODOT Central Office in Columbus indeed approved the plans and specifications last week. So they've authorized us to go out to bid. So that's going to run the repository starting Thursday. And with federal funds, we have to advertise 1 extra week. So our bid opening will be Friday, April 3rd on that project. So if we can go out early, we'll get a better price. And really, the only other thing is we've got some really good news coming on the grant front. Just can't announce it yet, because we have to rubber stamp it, but happening in these is we'll be happy.
And you can barely contain yourself. That's what we like to hear. All right. Well, I don't have any particular report except to echo Mark. We had an excellent meeting with Walsh, and I think we've got a far better sense of kind of where they'd like to go and where their priorities are. And I'm hopefully we'll have, as Mark indicated, we'll have a good working relationship with it in the year ahead under President Collins. If you would turn to your agenda on the second page, you have the March meeting schedule. We have no meeting on the 16th. That is the night before the primary election, and the Board of Elections will be using this site here, so we will not be meeting. We will have a meeting on the 23rd, a regular council meeting, and a special committee of the whole. And then the March 30th is the 5th Monday, and there will be no meeting. So that is as it appears now. Any questions or comments about the agenda? Okay. This is the final call for business. Is there anyone who wishes to address the council before a very quick gavel signals the end of our meeting? Seeing none, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second?
All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? We are done.